Today's video is about the history of money. I'd just like to add that this is not advice, this is information only. Now, if you like the content today, give the video a little like and subscribe to the channel. Help me get the channel out there. Now, what even is money? Money is an exchange of value. It's a unit of measure and it's a store of wealth. Now, in today's video, we're going to be looking at the history of money. We're going to be looking at the barter. We're going to be looking at coins, paper money, and digital currency. And digital currency is what many believe to be the future of money. So it's important to understand. Now, why bother looking at the history of money? In my opinion, if you learn about the history of money, it will improve your financial literacy. And it will help you understand what's going on in the world in terms of finance, in terms of economics, macroeconomics, what's going on in the bigger picture. Now, with improved financial literacy, you can then go on and invest with skill. Not just randomly invest your way towards financial independence. And that essentially is what Duff Money is all about. It's about me documenting my journey towards financial independence, and it's also me putting content out there to help other people get some early financial independence. Anyway, let's get to the history of money, and we're going to be starting with the barter. Back in the day, the barter was a way to exchange value. So if you had your self-sufficient farmer who could grow food, what if that farmer wanted a pair of shoes or clothes? What they'd have to do is go to the nearest village and exchange a bushel of wheat or whatever it is they grow for that pair of shoes. Now, this is something we take for granted because we can go to Tesco, Asda, Aldi, Lidl, wherever and get whatever we want. But back in the day, when it was all about the barter, you couldn't. And all you could do was exchange what you had for something what you wanted, like your bushel of wheat for your shoes or whatever it was that you needed. The barter was eventually replaced by coin. This was because of issues with the barter, like how difficult it would be to get that bushel of wheat, if you're the farmer, to the nearest village to exchange for your pair of shoes. Now, when you look at money, the barter doesn't cover the three things that you need for money, which is an exchange of value, a unit of measure, and a store of wealth. All the barter does is offer an exchange of value. So we're now going to move on to coins. The first coins date back to 1000 BC. The first official currency was in Lydia in 700 BC, and Lydia is what we now know as Western Turkey. Now, moving on a few hundred years to the Roman Empire, I'm going to let you in on a little story about QE, quantitative easing, and inflation. Now, I think it was towards 200 AD, in and around that time, when the Romans decided to increase the wages of the soldiers to recruit more soldiers. And how they'd done that was they clipped the coins, so they made more coins, which is effectively what our government and central banks are doing now. They're printing more money, they're increasing our currency, and that's exactly what the Romans did back in the day. Now, what this led to, increasing the supply of coins, by reducing the size, they increased the supply of the coins. This contributed to the demise of the Roman Empire. And this is because of inflation, and the coins were worth less and eventually worth next to nothing. And it led to chaos and again contributed to the demise of the Roman Empire. And this is very relevant because inflation was relevant back in the day, back when the Romans were about, and it's very relevant today. It's important to understand. Now, looking at England, coins were being used in AD 886, and this was gold or silver or a combination of the two. Now, a good thing about coins, gold and silver, is that they satisfy everything that you need with money. And again, that is an exchange of value, a unit of measure, and a store of wealth. That's gold or silver. Now we're going to move on to paper money. With paper money, it first appeared in China in the 700s, and a few hundred years later, well, almost 1,000 years later, in the 1600s, the first banknote appeared in Sweden. Paper money is fiat currency. But what is fiat currency? Fiat currency is basically money, paper money, that is backed by a government's promise. Now, how confident are we today in 2022 with our governments and central banks? How confident are we in our paper money? Today, the global reserve currency is the US dollar. So what I'm going to do is briefly discuss the history of the US dollar. The dollar became an official currency in 1792. Now, fast forward to today, and it's been the global reserve currency for almost 80 years. And this goes back to the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944. In 1944, as the Second World War was coming to an end, all the major governments around the world met and they came to an agreement. And that agreement was that all major currencies around the world would be tied to the pound and mainly the dollar. And the pound and the dollar would be tied to gold, pegged to gold. And that was the gold standard. Now, as the years went on, America broke this agreement and started printing more money than they had in gold. So the Bretton Woods Agreement was that the circulating supply of US dollars would stay the same in comparison to the gold supply. And again, this is what they broke. And they broke it because they printed more money to pay for expensive wars. So you've got the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944. As the years went on, America broke this agreement by printing more dollars. QE, quantitative easing, which again is very relevant today because it's causing massive problems around the world with inflation and hyperinflation. So as the years went on, America printed more and more dollars to pay for expensive wars. And this led to President Nixon removing the dollar from the gold standard in 1971, August 1971. And since 1971, things have got worse in terms of printing money. QE has got worse. QE has got much worse since 2008, the financial crisis. And this quantitative easing is devaluing our pounds and dollars and every other currency you can think of. It's leading to pain in households up and down the UK and other parts of the world. And it's causing massive issues, especially in countries that are suffering from inflation and hyperinflation. Countries like Turkey, Argentina, Venezuela. And it's because of countries like the UK and the US and other countries, governments that are just printing money. Central banks are just printing money. They're not even asking the people. They're not even asking the people if they think it's right to print more money. They're just carrying on with quantitative easing, and it's not right, and things need to change, in my opinion. And my feeling is that most people who understand the history of money, who look into it, will feel the same. Things need to change. And this brings me on to digital currency. Digital currency, Bitcoin, crypto assets, this is what many believe will be the future of money. Elon Musk and a few others started PayPal back in 1998. This was the start of sending money peer-to-peer, and the e-wallets revolution on the internet took off. Again, this is back in 1998. Fast forward to 2009, and Satoshi Nakamoto, the alias of Satoshi Nakamoto, created Bitcoin. And this was after the financial crisis of 2008. Now, if you don't understand crypto or you're just thinking about getting into crypto, what I would do is read some books on it. And there'll be some books in the video description. These books will help you understand it. And then what I would do, remember this is not advice, this is information only. I'm just trying to nudge you towards crypto. And then what I would do is read the Bitcoin white paper. Maybe read the Bitcoin white paper and the Ethereum white paper, and it will improve your understanding. Now, the thing with Bitcoin is, because it's totally decentralized, because there's only 21 million possible coins ever to be in existence, governments and central banks can't mess things up like they're doing with currencies today, like they're doing with QE, quantitative easing, and inflation. They can't do it with Bitcoin because it's decentralized. And this is one of the reasons why many people think that Bitcoin has a big part to play in the future of money. It's my opinion that the likes of Bitcoin and Ethereum and some other crypto assets will be here in the future. And this is because of blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is here to stay, again, in my opinion. And I think that once you get your head around it, you'll probably agree. But don't take my word for it. Check out the video description, read a few books, do your own research, and find out what Bitcoin's all about, what crypto's all about. Because again, it's important to understand money. It's important to understand the history of money, because that will add to your financial literacy. It will help you to understand what's going on in terms of macroeconomics, in terms of what's going on a global scale. And then you can really invest with skill. Like up until the last 6 months, I thought that earning 8, 9, 10% ROI, which is return on investment from property, was good. It is good. It's better than high street banks, less than 1%. When you realise that inflation is likely to be over 10%, you understand that your ROI needs to be higher, more like 15% or even 20%. All I'm saying is get your head into the history of money, understand money, and it will add to your financial literacy. And in my opinion, it will help you going forward. It will help you reach your financial goals. So yeah, that's about enough for my version of the history of money. If you've liked today's video, give me a little like and subscribe to the channel. Help me get the content out there. And don't forget to check out the video description for some useful links that will help you understand money and help you with the history of money.